So today we have Von Galt. So she's back for another round of videos. And today she's going to start talking about abundance blocks, health tips, and tips to help out yourself to make yourself a better person. So she's a QHHT practitioner, an author, and an IT professional. So she dips into a little bit of everything. And so she's going to give us some tips on these abundance blocks, some health tips, and how to make yourself a better person. Tips for yourself.
Yes.
Take it away.
Yes, and we're definitely also going to get into synchronicity and how your soul groups work together to nudge you along in your journey here on Earth.
That's right.
So basically, just a simple background for people who are not familiar with me or haven't watched any previous videos of our interviews. I am Von Galt, and I'm a normal working mom here in Seattle, Washington, and I actually work in the IT profession. So I have the same kind of schedule as almost everybody in the working world. And aside from that, I also write books on any topic that is interesting to me. And I think I always joke that my residual income from my books basically pays for the expense of childcare here in Seattle.
Nice.
It's enormous. So people who live in IT areas, in very expensive areas, also have a balancing act, and a lot of people have what they call a side hustle.
So anyway, in the description for her books that's listed on Amazon as well.
Yes.
So it's easier for everybody to find. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So anyways, so I write books, and one of the things that I do to write books and to get content is I am a QHHT practitioner, which is quantum healing hypnosis through the Dolores Cannon modality that she created when she was alive. And basically how I came to be a QHHT practitioner kind of goes into my side hobby of writing books. So, I am from an indigenous tribe called the Hmong tribe of Laos. And I live here in America under political asylum. And I have been raised in Laotian folklores and also Buddhism. So I have over 40 years of Buddhist knowledge in metaphysics and manifesting with metaphysics and consciousness through that tradition. And I'm constantly working to perfect, myself and my Merkaba, my mandala, which is what we call in Buddhism. And basically from following research of many Buddhist monks like the Dalai Lama and other prominent figures, who was, I think over 20 or so years ago, was offering themselves as case studies to help get evidence on meditation, mindfulness, consciousness studies, quantum physics, all that area. I started following the works of many of these monks, and then I started getting into the works of the academic research. And from going into that, I know a lot of information about the academic world that kind of has proven a lot of this stuff is really just science in every day. And from that, I came across Dolores Cannon because she was talking about much the same content, but as a hypnosis modality to uncover information about different types of lives that people have chosen to incarnate as. And so then I decided to become a practitioner so that I can put into practice the things that I know in Buddhism and metaphysics into helping people through that modality. So that's a little bit of background on myself. But basically for today, what are abundance blocks? And this is something that everyone, for the most part, has issues with. And basically what abundance blocks are is, it's really simple. Abundance blocks are unbalanced perspectives. That's all that abundance blocks is in Buddhism. So if you have an issue working on something it's because you have an unbalanced perspective on it. And it can be a little bit daunting to kind of work through the layers of your abundance blocks to kind of get to the other side and get healthy and start, working on your awakening, start working on your ascension up to different levels of consciousness after you get over that abundance block or those series of abundance blocks. But I can explain how we go over abundance blocks using the Buddhist principles of the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path, which is the foundation of what Buddhism is, that the founder, Siddhartha Gautama, had discovered from doing research on himself and with other people, that he found and put it together into what he calls the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Paths to addressing your abundance blocks. And in understanding how to apply these principles in your life, you'll demystify what Buddhism is. So it's really a practice for overall wellness and to manifest a parallel reality that's a better fit for you. So let me give you some examples of.
In my mind.
Yeah. You're on that question? Okay. Let me give you some examples of what a common abundance block is. So the first example of a common abundance block that I get from, like, at least in my hypnosis practice of QHHT, I have a lot of clients that come in and they typically are asking a series of questions, and many of the questions that they ask the oversoul when I put them into regression is basically about their abundance blocks that are preventing them from getting to their awakening or manifesting a better version of themselves, or manifesting a reality that is, more in line with what they want to experience in their career, in their relationship, in their health, whatever it is. But most of the questions are about their abundance blocks. And so in QHHT, what I do is I will regress people, and the oversoul will help address those abundance blocks by giving them the answers to what is the source cause of why they feel that way, and suggest areas for them to explore to resolve that issue. And that happens in every single session. Now, you could also do that yourself by just applying the principles of the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path in Buddhism without going all the way into a QHHT session for 4 hours and talking to the oversoul, which is also very wonderful. Some issues are so deep into past lives, into your pre-incarnation story that you set up for yourself, that you actually need to kind of break the veil and go into the spirit world and get those answers to your abundance block so that you can manifest something better for yourself. Mm-hmm. But in simplistic terms, outside of that, so let me give you an example of what a common abundance block is. And keep in mind, when we're going over addressing these 3 common abundance blocks, you have to understand that in Buddhism, the cause and effect factor is something that a lot of people are working on, even in the West. The cause is you. You are the one who is causing everything. You're the cause. Everything else is the effect. Okay, if you change yourself and your unbalanced perspective on something that you're working on, you would change your personal frequency and your energy will change, and that will put you into a parallel reality that is more in line with the frequency that you now radiate at with your new balanced perspective about that abundance block. So just keep that in mind, cause and effect. So the first most common abundance block is about yourself, which is what I usually get in my QHHT sessions as well, is I want to find true love. I want a really good relationship. My marriage is not working. Something's not working in this personal relationship that I have with this person. So the abundance block is basically that they want to find true love. So they're actually, in my book, Buddhist Guide to Manifest Parallel Realities, this actually is in there, and called The Matrix of Delusion. And basically, I put in the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism in this worksheet. And the Four Noble Truths are this. The first noble truth is that life is suffering. You're just not going to get away with it, okay? If you're in a physical meat pack like what we have here, it's going to suffer. It's just a reality of being physical, all right? If you don't want to be physical, then you won't suffer because now you're just energy. And there's nothing to experience physically. So 1, life is suffering. 2, of the noble truths is that attachment causes suffering. And many people's abundance blocks is because they are attached to something. Okay, it doesn't have to be physical. They can be attached to drama. They can be attached to the image of something. They can be attached to a fantasy that they would like that person or this person to be like. It's just attachment is what causes the suffering. The third noble truth in Buddhism is insights remove suffering. So if you get insights on why it is the way it is and you understand it, then you won't suffer anymore. Okay, so insights remove suffering. And then the fourth one is living the Eightfold Path ends suffering. Okay, so those are the 4 noble truths in Buddhism. That's the first half. Now, how do you live the Eightfold Path to address these abundance blocks? And here's what the Eightfold Path is, and I'm going to explain how to apply this. So you could do this to yourself with the issues you're working with. You could even do it with a group of people, and then they can put their feedback into the worksheet, and then you can work on your abundance blocks together as a group exercise if you want to. So there's all more detail in my book, but this is the basis of it. So the Eightfold Path is 1, correct thought, 2, correct speech, 3, correct action, 4, correct livelihood, 5, correct understanding, 6, correct effort, 7, correct concentration, and 8, correct mindfulness. So those are the Eightfold Paths in Buddhism, and that's the fourth noble truth, which is if you live the Eightfold Path, it will end your suffering in whatever your abundance block is. That is Buddhism in a nutshell, okay? That's what Buddhism is applying these principles to your abundance blocks every single day so that you raise your frequency and your level of consciousness. And by changing your energy frequency, you manifest to yourself a parallel reality that is more in line with what you radiate at. Okay, and this has been proven in kinesiology from Dr. David R. Hawkins, which is the #1 mental health doctor in New York when he ran the largest hospital during his medical years. He had proven this as well in his practice with thousands of mental health patients. So let's get back to the first example, which is, I want to find true love. Okay, right. So somebody comes in and they go, I really want to find true love. I want to find true love. That's their abundance blocks. They're so tired of attracting the same type of person, just different kinds of the same person, the same BS. They don't know why they do it, and they're just getting tired of it. And so they get to the point where they want something better for themselves. So in Buddhism, in the worksheet, what you do is you make 4 columns in the worksheet, okay? And again, this is outlined in my book. So the first column is suffering. That's 1 for suffering. The second column is attachment. 1 for attachment, okay? This is going to start sounding familiar because this is the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. The third column is causes, which is insights. Insights remove suffering. So you're going to list out your causes. And then the 4th column is the Eightfold Path. All right, so those are the 4 columns in the Matrix of Delusion worksheet, okay? And these are the 4 noble truths. Now we're going to apply the Eightfold Path that I had listed earlier on your issue. So the first issue is I want to find love. So and I want to find love. That's what the suffering is. The suffering is I want to find love. I'm tired of having, a bad relationship with my loved one, my spouse or my boyfriend or whatever. So that's the first column that you write in, and that's your suffering. The next column is your attachment. Okay, so now you're going to go through the things that you're attached to, which is what are you attached to? And when you start doing this worksheet, you pretty much start understanding why you do the things you do. So you're attached to maybe this fantasy of what this relation should look like, of how this person should act, or be like, how this person should look like, what different parameters they should be like. So you're attached to all these things, and you're not talking about yourself. You're just talking about your big list of attachments that is wrong with this person. Okay, so these are the things that you're attached to. You're attached to the physical, you're attached to the form of how it's supposed to look like. So you write down the things that you're attached to. And once you write that down, then you're going to go through the causes. Okay. So the causes, we're going to see what are the insights that are causing this that you're not looking at. Okay. So we're going to move to the Eightfold Path. And this is where we're going to really dissect your problem and see where your abundance block is. So the first Eightfold Path, which is correct thought. Okay. The suffering is that I want love. And you are attached to all these different things about how this should look. So the first thing is, are you applying the correct thought to this thing? So are you thinking about it correctly? Like, if you are just looking at the problem being that person needs to change, that person needs to make so much money, that person needs to look like this, that person needs to act like this, they need to know when I'm right, when I need this, they need to this. You're not thinking correctly, because the problem, as you start listing this out and you start seeing your list, the person who has the problem is you. You are attached because you cannot accept them for who they are. Okay, and they are just a reflection of who you are. You attract to yourself what you are. You attract to yourself the same level of consciousness. So if you need to start working on yourself, then you're going to be a match or not a match, and you're going to attract a better relationship to yourself that's more in line with kind of your inner wellness. So that's the correct thought. The next thing is correct speech. So when you start looking at how you talk to this person, how you talk about yourself, and how you talk about this relationship, and you start writing down what are the common things that you say about this relationship or about the things that you're working on, and then you start dissecting how you talk. Are you constantly nagging? Are you constantly putting them down? Are you constantly calling them names? Are you constantly belittling them? Are you constantly belittling yourself? These are the things that you're saying out into the universe. So what do you expect the universe to send back to you? It's a computer. It's just reflecting back to you what you send out. So that's correct speech. And then correct action. Okay. So are you acting the way you're supposed to? So when you get home in this relationship, because you want true love, when you get home, there's the first thing you do is start pick a fight. Is the first thing they do pick a fight with you? Is the first thing you do start complaining about things around the house? These are the actions that you do every single day, and you don't know you're doing it. So you have to look at how you act in your reality, because your reality is just going to feed back to you what you act out. So that's action. The next one is livelihood. Are you living like you're in true love? Because if you want true love, the person that radiates the same frequency as you, whether it's the person you're with or whether you're dating, is going to come back to you if you radiate at that level of consciousness. So if your whole livelihood is set up to make room for somebody, if you have your whole house full of your stuff and there's no room for anybody else, the universe is not going to send you somebody who's going to fill that extra space in your home or that closet, because you're not living
Right.
like you have an opening.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, so livelihood, consider the way in which you live. Like if you're single and you want love in your life, but you sit around at home all day, complain that you don't have love, you're not living like you want a relationship. You have to put yourself out there. It's all training,
Right.
so you have to put yourself out there, or at least put yourself on Match.com or any of the dating sites. Go out with friends, meet new people. If all you do is date the same people over and over again because you never put yourself out there and expect a different type of relationship with the same circle of people that you've been dating over and over again, then you're not living a livelihood that has an opening and vacancy for somebody new that may, be a matching frequency to who you are. So your livelihood is, unbalanced perspective.
And it's
Um,
hard for that new person to find you too.
right.
I've been
So
thinking about that.
that's the livelihood. The next Eightfold Path is understanding. Are you having the correct understanding in your situation? So you want true love, okay? But you make your list of things that you want. Are you that person? Because if the person that you want to attract to your life is so many barometers higher up in a consciousness level than you are, then you don't have the correct understanding, okay? It's just like, what's your dating FICO score? Okay, are you a good risk to be with? Maybe you should go get some financial help with your inner wellness, okay? So you have an understanding that you attract what you are, and you want better, you work on your inner work.
Right.
The next one is effort, okay? Correct effort. Are you making the effort to find true love? Like if you find somebody that is, they are in your frequency, you guys enjoy each other, you're having fun, but you don't make any effort to meet them halfway, to go and fill your calendar up with them. If you just put in your books, all it is work, maybe some workout, everything else, and you barely squeeze room and hope that there's space for somebody to be with you, you're not making any effort. Just like if you want to lose weight, you have to work out. You have to do the stuff. You have to eat right. You have to work out. You have
Be
to apply the
healthy.
principles to be healthy. Now, it's just like that with your love barometer. If you want to find true love, or you want to maintain true love in your relationship, you have to continually work on it, and you have to maintain it. Like it's like when you work out, you make it to a point where you get to your ideal health size, but then you let it all go. Well, you're not continuing to make the effort. You have to make the effort and maintain that all the way through if you want to keep that. And
Hence the
people,
words, work to invest in your health.
exactly, work to invest. Exactly. So make the effort. The seventh one is concentration. Okay, correct concentration. You want to find love, true love, but you're not concentrating on it. So let's say you are dating this person just because they're available, you're going here just because, but for yourself what is a good fit for you, but you're dating all these other people that basically are wasting your time, and it's basic distraction. So what do? Are you cheap and free? Is that it? How do you see yourself? How do you value yourself? Are you
Right.
for sale all the time? Are you for sale all the time? Because, you only have so much time. If let's say you want to have children sometime, you have a window in which you can have children. You can't have children at 70. I know there's a case study here and there, but for most of us, and even if you could,
Right.
would you want to? So there's a time frame in which you want to be if you want to be a parent, You want to be a parent with somebody who's a matching frequency to you, you know, who maybe is your true love, then you want to concentrate on, it's just like when you're training for like a marathon, you got to train, you got to live the whole principles, the livelihood, everything, and you have to concentrate. You can't have distraction. So if you're focusing on something and you're there, concentrate. So if you're on a date, for example, try to find true love. You met somebody you have a great relationship with, you talk to you, everything's, you know, hunky-dory, chemistry's there, but on the date, the phone comes on and you're like, hi, how are you? Okay, I'll talk to you later. You know, da, 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 da. 20 minutes later, the person's like, I gotta go. You know, where's your concentration? You did all that and then you didn't concentrate on the prize.
Right, because
Okay?
that person accepted a phone call.
How do you make, I mean, yeah, in that moment, in that time slot that you had put for that date, you didn't pay attention to the thing that you were there for, which means that you really didn't value that person's time to get to know you. And you don't really value yourself to give yourself a chance to really see if this is true love or if this can develop into one. So you got to concentrate when you're in there. When you're in the game, you got to concentrate. And then the last one for this example is mindfulness. Be mindful, okay? So let's say you're in a relationship and it's good, but you always constantly fight about your wandering eye. That is not being mindful of your surroundings. You're not being mindful of the person that you're hurting right there. Or if you're constantly picking up on date night, you're constantly picking up the phone to look at work or do this or do that, or go on Facebook, whatever. You're not being mindful of how you are losing that connection with the other person. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can be mindful. So again, apply these principles into looking at your issue, your suffering, and you will see exactly the issues that you are doing to create these abundance blocks for this issue you're working with. And I know in my QHHT sessions, when I put clients through a regression and one of these abundance blocks comes up, this is the stuff that is brought forth for them, and the advice Oversoul brings forth for them as well. You're being distracted, you know, considering other people. They'll get lifetimes where they are doing the same thing over and over again and not, you know, following some of these principles. So, you know, they'll get lifetimes where they're talking horribly to the same people in the same soul group. They're not, you know, being reasonable, you know, they're being neglectful, you know, on and on and on, the list goes on. It's the same thing. So that is the first suffering. The second suffering that I commonly get is about wealth. So, you know, I don't really like my job. I don't like my job.
That's probably a huge one.
That's a huge one. Oh my goodness. That one is right up there on what most people have questions for the Oversoul in my QHHT sessions. I don't like my job. I don't like what I'm doing.
Interesting.
It's a big cause of their dissatisfaction with their earthly incarnation. So when you look at your suffering of I don't like my job,
right,
and you apply the Eightfold path to end this suffering, let's put it through the ringer. Okay, so suffering in the column, your suffering is I don't like my job. Now list all the things you're attached to. So are you attached to a vision of how this job should to look like? Is this job supposed to pay you a certain amount? Is this job supposed to have so much power in it? What is it about the job that you're attached to that you're dissatisfied with? And then go through the causes. You know, why are you in this job? Is this the job that's in line with your education, with your experience level? Did you get this job through somebody that you know? You know, go list through the causes so that you can kind of see a pattern, and then apply the Eightfold path. So, are you thinking about the job correctly? If you're dissatisfied by the job, have you considered that this job might be a stepping stone to something else better? If your end goal is that you want to, let's say, run your own business in a certain field, like you say you're a construction worker and you want to be run your own small construction company or your small landscaping company, you had to start somewhere to get the experience so that you understand what customers want, how to talk to customers, how to invoice customers, how to do your taxes so that you don't get screwed in tax time, all these little things. Well, guess what, love? You had to start some entry-level job in this profession to be that guy that owns that, small company, that small construction or landscaping company. You had to learn all this stuff, and you're learning from experience, and you're also getting the training that you need from your education. So like if you're an electrician, you're going to go get your electrician license, whatever. So are you thinking about it correctly? Because you don't like your job, but is the job in the industry that you find happiness in? Is your ideal vision to create homes or beautiful landscape or whatever your future vision is? You have this great vision of what you're going to be happy with. Well, there are steps that lead to this vision. It's part of the journey. Okay, so maybe you're not maybe you're not thinking correctly. So are you having the correct thought about it? Are you speaking correctly about it? Are you going to work every single day cussing at yourself and cussing at this job?
A lot of people are doing that.
It's evil. Can't stand this client. Oh, I can't stand my boss. I hate the commute. What? You write down the things that you commonly say about your job, at least your job, and then see what is the language that you feed to yourself every day about your job.
Interesting.
And you're sending that out to the universe, and you're going to get more of it back. Okay.
Right. What you put out there, you receive.
Yep. It's a computer. It's a computer. Have your awakening. See that that we live in a holographic reality that is responding to the commands of its user. So you're suffering that you don't like your job. You're just speaking it out. Stop complaining about your job. Look at it differently. If it's completely in the wrong industry that you want, then switch an industry and work in that pathway.
Right.
So correct speech. Next thing, correct action. Are you doing the action items to be successful in your career? Okay. Are you, reading, you want something better in your career, but you're not doing anything to perfect yourself, make yourself competitive? Are you taking courses to learn how to do something more efficiently, be better at it, be more knowledgeable about it? And are you taking the action steps to work towards getting your license so that you can get that promotion and so that you can get a better position within your industry and finally attain that job that is going to make you happy? The stepping stones. Are you taking the action steps? Because the inaction is what's holding you back from your abundance box. And the only person holding you back from your abundance box is yourself. So action. Next thing is livelihood, okay? Are you living in a way that is going to be helpful to your career path? So if, let's say, for example, I want a better job and you work in, a trade industry, and you have to go get your certificate to get to next level. So your general manager is just waiting for you to get your electrician's license so that they can promote you to the next level because they need someone to fill that level.
Right.
So they're going to pay for you to do it, but it's just a matter of you taking the course and taking the test. You have the experience, but what are you doing in your livelihood? Are you coming home and slamming, all these beers and alcohol every night, watching games and sports and not studying?
Exactly.
Are you just going over your friends all the time and just pushing things away so that you don't make the time to go and find out what courses are available that fits within your schedule? And how can you pay for it? Making sure to look at the resources your company has that will pay for your course so that you can get your certificate. So you're not living in a way that is conducive to your success, so that you can like your job. So live in a way that will be successful. make room in your life to have the time to do the coursework and get the things that you need so that you can get promoted.
Right.
Next thing is correct understanding. Again, are you understanding your situation in a way that's conducive and helpful to you? So if you're complaining about so-and-so getting a promotion who you think is better, you're better than they are, you do it faster, better, easier than they are, but they made the time to go get the certificate and get the education and get the experience outside of what the company's offering to advance themselves, whether it be for this company that you guys are working in or somewhere else. Knocking them down is not going to help you.
Right.
It's all about your own personal journey. So you need to understand that you are exactly where you are because you haven't made any steps forward towards your own advancement in your career.
Exactly.
So next thing, effort. Are you making the effort? And again, you're probably just sitting there complaining and not making any effort towards bettering yourself and getting the experience and the knowledge to further yourself in your career. As you want better jobs, more high-paying jobs, more visible jobs that you're more happy with, you're going to have to be qualified to do those jobs. And in order to be qualified to do those jobs, you have to put the effort into getting the experience, into getting the education, to have the qualifications to fulfill that job. Okay, so whatever it is. So for example, if let's say you want to create advertising as a job, okay, you have to put the effort to build your book, your portfolio. And if the current entry-level job that you have doesn't fully give all the opportunity, nobody is holding you back from starting a side project where you can get that experience. So let's say you like photography. I had a client who wanted to kind of get further into creating content for their clients, but he didn't really have a lot of visual experience. So one of the suggestions was, you like photography, go get a simple camera and start taking nice pictures, to know your equipment, start taking nice pictures. You'll eventually develop a genre, and you'll eventually have friends and family, and you'll eventually have clients that will see your material and like what you have to offer. And before you know it, you're building your own book of business, and then you're building a client base, and then you're building testimonials, then you have content for your website, then your website gets traffic from Yelp or other reviews. And then before you know it, you have the side business on top of your main job where you're a professional photographer that specializes in this or that. And now you're booking a lot of appointments where you can use that experience into a much more high profile position that needs that kind of background. Okay, so now your entry-level position that you thought was holding you back, because you made the effort to find the experience and the knowledge on your own. You took your own Udemy classes, you got your own equipment, you went out there and played around with it. You kept in the game, making sure that you're learning how to be the best photographer, whatever, how to make really good, pictures and equipment. Now you gained that, and now you have the experience that if you want to, you can look in the market and apply for jobs in the fields that you're interested in that are maybe many, many levels up, because now you just jump to a whole new level because of the effort you put into yourself. So correct effort. Again, that goes in with correct concentration. Got to be in the game. When you're in the game, you got to focus. You got to concentrate, okay? You want a better job, okay? So, your friends who are always like, hey, man, let's go hang out. Let's go to the game on Wednesday, Thursday. Let's go to, Monday game night, whatever. You're like, sorry, I got to work on something. I got these things that I need to work on to take this course. So I have a client. I can't schedule this out or whatever the deal is. But
Absolutely.
It's around getting the experience that you need. So make sure that when you're in the game, concentrate. Don't be distracted.
Oh yeah,
And
don't lose your focus.
don't lose your focus. And then mindfulness. Be mindful of your circumstance as well, and apply that to wherever you are. Be mindful of your surroundings as well. So it's just like when you're driving your car. To have less accidents, you're mindful of your surroundings. So apply those Eightfold Paths to the suffering of I want a better job, and you will get that better job. It's very logical. And then the very last one is the third most common abundance block is my weight issues are a problem. I don't like my weight. It causes health issues. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel fatigued, whatever. All these different symptoms of my weight issue. So the suffering is your weight. You're suffering because of your weight. All right. Why does your weight cause you so much suffering? Well, it lists out your attachment. I'm attached to,
List them out.
I have a certain image of myself. I was this image when I was 19. I could be like the supermodel. I think we're the same frame. I could be that. Whatever your attachment is, I have this specific size that I'm looking for because that is attached to when I was happiest in my life, or our relationship that was the best when I was this certain size. Whatever you're attached to, list out the things that you're attached to, and then list out the causes. Why are you having weight issues? Maybe you have your weight issues because you had a car accident that caused you to not be as active as you were before. Maybe you have weight issues because you just had some kids and the baby weight, it's going to take some time to go away. Maybe you have weight issues because you're aging, and as you age, you do slow down your metabolism no matter how hard you try. So, look at your causes and start listing them out, and then apply the Eightfold Path to that weight issue. So are you thinking about it correctly? Do you have the correct thought? Okay. You can't compare yourself to the body that you were 20 years ago and eat like you did and not work out and still be skinny mini. Okay? Are you thinking about it correctly? Are you speaking? Do you have the correct speech? Are you speaking about yourself correctly? Do you look in the mirror and start going, ugh? Oh, God, I hate this. I got it. If somebody gives you a compliment,
I hate my leg.
if somebody gives you a compliment, like, oh, you look great in that dress. Oh, I know, but I would look so much better. Oh, I don't, it's my fat day. It's my fat day, whatever. Write all the things that you say about yourself throughout the day that you reference about your body. That is the speech that you're sending out to yourself, that I don't love myself. I don't love myself.
Right.
I hate the body. I hate the vessel.
Coming back to you.
I hate the vessel that I'm in. I don't like the ship I'm driving. I'm constantly knocking at myself. If your body was removed from your soul and your body was your child, that's the stuff you are saying to your child.
Interesting point of view.
Okay? Split the person from the body and look at the things that you're saying to that person. Would you say the things that you say to yourself about your body image in the mirror, everywhere else? Would you say that to somebody else, but you're okay saying it to yourself? Okay, so have the correct speech. Again, have the correct action. You want a healthy body, but you're not going to work out. You're not going to eat right. You're not going to wear clothes that fit you, that are healthy for you, that look good on you in whatever size you are. You're going to buy clothes that are so many sizes less than you, hoping to go back into it. But maybe you do, maybe you don't. Until you get there, are you going to punish yourself the whole time, or are you going to love yourself into that size? So have a correct action in your life about it.
You mentioned working out, and one of the things was, you building up energy, you have to release that energy and get that body flow and movement and release that energy. So
yeah, I mean, the definition of emotion, because the way we see ourselves, the way we see our bodies, the vessel that our souls are experiencing life through, all of these things are emotion. And emotion, when you break down emotion, is emotion. It's energy in motion. Okay. So if you want to be energy in motion, you got to be in motion somehow. So have the correct action. Okay. Are you having the correct livelihood? Are you living in a way that is conducive to you being in the most optimal health? Okay. You may be working out, eating great, but when you open your fridge, there's all this junk food in there.
That's true.
Okay. And you know, you go in your closet, is all the clothes just blasé? They're not the best, you know, thing you would put on that really shows off like this, like does your spirit happy to see yourself in this? Is your house.
You talking about the clothes, like clothes that make you feel wonderful, make you feel good, that type of clothes?
Yeah, because people who usually don't like their bodies will constantly be in clothes that are kind of like hide everything, and it's a reflection of their mood. You know, so I mean, even if you wear black, you know, get some tights on.
Right.
Show, get some tights on, get some cute shoes on, you know, put yourself together in a way, or whatever size. I used to be a size 16. I love my size when I was size 16. I looked great in like black tights. I looked better than the skinny girls on the gym. I put my hair like here.
There
Put
you
my
go.
hair like here. I had loose top, and I had really tight with like stylish black workout tights, yoga pants, and it looked great at size 16. I actually got more dates at a size 16 than when I was skinnier.
Interesting. There you
And
go.
the guys were so nice too. They're just wonderful guys who date women who are size 16 too. 16, 18 doesn't matter, because
But also, you're probably putting out a different energy as well. You know, from what it sounds like, you saw yourself different. You know, you put out a positive vibe, so you was attracting those positive guys as well. You know.
Yeah. Even when I was a size 16, I'm a size 10 right now, and I used to be a size 2. It doesn't matter what size I was. When I was in high school and college, I was a size 2. But anyways, when I was a size 16, before I met my husband, and I started getting really active, but there was one time at that point, I was just like, well, I'm just going to go and buy bigger clothes that are nice and that look good on me. So I just bought bigger clothes that are nice and look good on me. And whenever I lost weight, it just gave me an excuse to go reward myself with some, some clothes that fit me a little bit better in whatever size I was. Even when I got married, I fit it to my exact size. And if I lost a little bit, that's fine. If I didn't, I'm going to look good in whatever size I'm getting married in. So, and, I'm going to rock whatever I got. so when you're trying to work on that abundance block of your weight, love yourself as you are right now, because in reality, there is no future, there is no past. It all exists at the same time. And because it's all now, love yourself now, because what you love yourself now will be the version that you are tomorrow. Okay, so what you are experiencing now is the karma that you had in the past. So just love yourself now and work on that. So have the right livelihood, clean the house. If you are working on your weight issue or your fitness for health reasons, like maybe the weight is causing you back problems or causing you certain pains for real health issues, not just cosmetic. Vanity, but for real health issues, then have the livelihood to stay in the game and live a healthy life, which means not have all this clutter all around that makes you just want to sit around and be like, I don't want to go work out, I'm really depressed. Have healthy foods in the house so that, if you want to snack, you snack on something healthy. Watch when you're watching TV or entertaining yourself. Pick things that are going to make you happy and not depress you about your size. So, there's so many different ways in which you can have a livelihood that is conducive to your success of being healthy, if that is what you're suffering with. Again, have a good understanding of your situation and what you could do about it, and make the effort. They have the correct effort. So make the effort every single day. Today, I'm beautiful. When you look in the mirror, have the good speech and make the effort to you put yourself together in whatever version you are, whatever size you are, the best that you can. You know, when you walk out with your head up and your shoulders back, like you're proud of your body. 16, 10, 2, doesn't really matter. 24, doesn't matter. Be proud of it. I've seen women who are so beautiful at a size 20 than more women at size 20 who are so beautiful, who carry themselves with grace. They understand what they got. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. And they adorn their bodies with, great fashion, and they carry themselves with grace. More beautiful than the size 2s. Okay, so, and maybe she ends up morphing into a smaller size or whatever look she decides to morph herself into. We're all, recreating ourselves all the time. But have the correct effort. And again, have the correct concentration. Like when you're in the gym, concentrate on the things you're working on. If you're working on back strength, because that's where your back issues from your weight is, then concentrate so you don't hurt yourself with the weights. Concentrate and do the steps that you need. If you're walking around the neighborhood, concentrate on making sure that you're having the right movement. So when you're in the game, concentrate. And then again, the last principle is mindfulness, correct mindfulness. Make sure that you're mindful of your environment and the things that you do. So if you are trying to live healthy and you're constantly around roommates and people who are just really poor eaters that constantly want to take you out to the bars, you're going to go and you're going to spend 3,000 calories on a meal every single night, well, then you're not being mindful of their suffering, and you don't care. You really don't care. Let's be honest. Okay, so apply these 8 principles in your suffering of your weight issue. And before you know it, you're going to get to the ideal weight that you want, and then maintain that. Okay, so that is the 4 Noble Truths and Eightfold Paths of Buddhism, the basic foundation of Buddhism that you can apply to your abundant blocks in all areas. And when you apply that to your abundance blocks in all these different areas, and again, if you want to get a QHHT session just to get a cheat code to your abundance blocks and get it straight from the oversoul and from your past lives and why you do the things you do, or then you could do that as well. But this is also another method to apply to your abundance blocks. And when you work on your issues and your abundance blocks and you work on your issues, what you do is, again, you are becoming self-aware of the holographic nature of your reality. You're kind of playing with reality here because you're applying these principles to your issues and you're working on it and clearing them up. And when you clear them up, you clear the energy that you radiate at, and your reality has no choice but to reflect back to you a reality that is in match with your frequency and your level of consciousness. So you kind of have your own personal awakening by addressing your abundance blocks with the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Paths of Buddhism. And you could do it with other modalities as well, but I've been trained in Buddhism, so I'm very familiar with that. And again, by raising your level of consciousness up to different scales through working on your abundance blocks, and you're going to continue to have issues, because issues is what makes growth happen. Aging and career issues, relationship issues, money issues, things will happen, because that's just part of life. So you're going to constantly be applying these principles to all your abundance blocks. And as you work with it, it becomes more part of your nature. You do it naturally. You don't know you do, you just do it naturally. And you can kind of move away from the matrix of delusion worksheet. But, in my book, I write it out, very easy to understand the principles, very easy to understand the 4 Noble Truths and apply the Eightfold Path. And then you can just do it in all the things that you're working on. Before you know it, you're having your ascension and you're raising your frequency. And by raising your frequency, you're raising the consciousness of not only yourself, but everybody else around you, because you're only going to attract to yourself people who are of the same frequency. And so now you're, raising into a reality that is a higher reality, So lower depth of reality has no choice but to be away from you. It can't stand you. Too happy, So, but here's the other thing also. When you are raising your level of consciousness and you're working on your ascension through addressing your abundance blocks. And remember, children usually don't have any abundance blocks. They come here free and clear. They don't have any BS to work on, okay? It's our conditioning that we put on them. And then they have to unlearn everything. So please do your children a favor and don't pass on your conditioning. So work on yourself. Get yourself to your own personal awakening. Work on your ascension and your levels of consciousness through working on these abundance blocks, maybe using the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. And then just work on your children in terms of helping them manifest and work on, the little things that they need to work on, but don't carry on your conditioning issues to them. It's just not needed. So, because they all come here radiating really high. So when you start doing this work, what starts coming into play is a term called synchronicity, okay? So synchronicity, and when people start doing their awakening work and their ascension work through addressing their abundance blocks in different areas of their life, so synchronicity is basically events that seem related, but there's no direct connection. So you're like, how do you know? I was looking for that. How do you know to call me? I was just thinking about you. There's no direct connection. So how do you know? In Buddhism, synchronicity is defined as this. It is your soul groups working together to make connections for you. Okay. However, it is up to you to discern if you want to take on that sign or not. All right. So I'll give you some examples of synchronicity in my life. Okay. Because my life is synchronicity very, very frequently. So, so I met my husband. One of my abundance blocks was to meet my true love. So I met my husband through online dating, through Match.com, and I met him when I was 28. So when we met, he's in a band and his bandmates were kind of skeptical of the new gal that he met on Match because he's had some relationships that did not work in the past. And so it kind of hurt him. And so they're really protective, especially the wives of his bandmates and the girlfriends of his bandmates. And so when they met me, one of the most skeptical wives, she turned around. It was my best friend at elementary school. Okay. We just met on Match, totally blind. And then the other wife, I went to college with her. We went to the University of Washington together. For many years, she would go to one building, I would go to the opposite building, but we would meet each other because she was best friends with my best friend from college. And so we would meet and just, chit chat a little bit and then break off into our art or music classes. And so I knew her through college. And then as I started talking to my husband and getting to know him when we were dating, I ended up finding out that his best friend, his fraternity brother that he lived with for 6 years, dated a gal. It didn't work out, but he dated a gal who tried to get me to date his roommate and best friend, which was my husband. So, and I said no because I was dating my ex-husband at the time, and she tried a couple times, and I thought about it, but I was like, I just can't do it. It's just too much work. But I could have started to date my ex-husband in college if I had gone on that blind date that my friend was trying to set me up with her boyfriend at the time with. And then his mother, before my husband was even born, his mother was doing grassroots work for a local politician here in Everett, who is very known in this area. And he had a son who sponsored 2 families from Southeast Asia, one from Vietnam, one from Laos, after the CIA secret war. The family from Laos was my family. Okay, so there's all these different layers of like we could have met each other at some point, but it was just the timing wasn't right. And when the time was right, when I finally decided to work on myself and apply everything, and if one relationship didn't work, I just okay, go back to ground zero, get back in the game. I'm ready.
Yep,
I'm ready to date. With
done.
yeah, get in the game. So be the best one. When I was finally really ready to work on myself, I attracted the person that was going to be a best fit for me, and all those different ironic coincidences, those that are not related at all, that's synchronicity. I'll give you another example of synchronicity. I've always wanted a French bulldog, and they're really expensive. They're like $3,000 or $4,000, just because they cannot naturally give birth. They have to do C-section.
Oh, wow.
French bulldogs, and so they're really expensive. So so I always wanted a French bulldog because I just love the little bug eyes. Because Buddhist monks, they made the Shar-Pei for companionship, and I just love the little squishy faces. I think they're so cute. I think they're so cute, but I think that they're just so ugly that they just turn cute. So I always wanted a French bulldog, and I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, and he had this big backyard. I was like, oh, I can finally get a French bulldog because I have a bigger backyard than my townhouse. So I was walking around a neighborhood, and I saw this ad for a lost French bulldog. It's like, this dog is lost. Is it yours? And I'm like, well, it's not lost, but I'll go and ask questions. So I knock on the door, and I say, saw this ad, blah blah blah. And it's two medical students from the Navy, and they said, yeah, we saw his dog running around at night in the dark, and we just kept it, and we're just trying to find his owners. And I said, well, if you don't find its owners, I've always wanted a French bulldog, so I'll adopt it. And they're like, oh, okay, because we were just going to give it to the animal shelter because we just got orders to go to Chicago for the Navy hospital or the Army or whatever hospital there. So they just got orders to break off to their next deployment to a different hospital, and so they can't take this dog with them, so they don't know what to do. So they're going to put it at the shelter, and they put it at the shelter for like one day, and they decided to take it back and try to find a home, go back and try to find the owners. The owners.
Right.
And so I said, well, let me know. And a week later, they come back and they're like, okay, we gotta be leaving and packing. So do you still want the dog? And I said, of course, I'll bring the dog. So I got my French bulldog. I got my $4,000 dog. Well, I love that dog. I call him Gromit, but he snores louder than my husband. So I could not sleep. So I was like, okay, I can't have this dog anymore. I need my sleep. My sanity is worth it for me. So I noticed that my neighbor next door has a French bulldog. She has two French bulldogs. Behind me. And so my dog would run back and forth with the other dog on the fence, and they would run back and forth, along the fence line together. So I noticed that she was really sad for a while. So I go knocking on the door, and I said, did you lose a dog? Because I have a dog that's looking for its owner. The two guys that a couple houses down the road, the two medical students, they found this lost dog, and they had to give it to somebody before they deployed. So I took it. But did you lose a dog? And she said, no, I didn't lose a dog, but one of my French bulldogs just died. And I said, do you want to adopt a dog? And she said, oh, I would love that, because my other dog is so sad and it needs a friend. And I was like, well, this is my dog. They've been running back and forth in the backyard together for the last couple of weeks. So she adopted my snoring dog. Like, this dog looks familiar because it had a spot on his face. She's like, it looks familiar. Was it a pause? And I was like, yes, it was a pause for one day at the animal shelter for one day, for 1 hour. And she said, Me and my boyfriend actually was going to go and adopt that dog. They just
Oh,
notified
no
they
way.
got that they got a French bulldog, and so we ran there as soon as we can to adopt that dog, and it was taken back out of the shelter. So that dog came back to them. So, and then ironically, I was doing research on energy medicine. And one of the energy healers and modalities was from I think Dr. Bratton or something. But anyways, he's a chiropractor here in Seattle, and he came up with this energy healing modality.
Hmm.
And I was doing research and reading his books and watching his videos. Well, in the end clip of the video, his daughter does a testimonial, and that's my neighbor.
What?
Yeah, that's my neighbor. I didn't
No
even
way.
know. I didn't even, and that's how we met. That's the first time we just met, was when I was like, "Do you want a dog?"
No way.
And then we just started talking, and I was like, "You know where from?" She's like, "Yeah, I do." I was like, "Oh my God, I know all of your father's work. I've been doing research on his work and energy
Wow.
healing." So synchronicity, that is synchronicity. And those are just two examples of synchronicity. I can go on and on about synchronicity that happens.
Absolutely. You probably have like 20 examples right off the top of your head.
Oh my goodness, we can go hours on it. But it doesn't, the point that I'm making is every single person has a series of soul groups or spirit guides that are around them all the time, and they're watching and they're learning from you. So that, and they'll help you and they'll nudge you along in your journey.
Right.
But
They'll give you
only
little
if you
clues.
give you clues, only if you listen. And most people are so caught up in the story that they're not working on their awakening, they're not working on their ascension. And so they just, it's really hard for your spirit world to watch you spin your wheels. But if you actually get to your awakening and work on your ascension, and you could do it through addressing your abundance blocks in different areas of your life, and you can do it with applying the Buddhist principles of the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path, or you could do it the QHHT, a cheat code as well, or any other modality. Celtics have their own version, Native Americans have their own version of ways to address their abundance blocks. There's so many traditions, many religions attempt to do this as well. It's really all about working on your inner wellness. And so when you start doing that, synchronicity will start happening because your soul groups will start working together. So if you're working on an issue, you may not see it, but your soul groups have a higher viewpoint of things, and they'll see, oh, there's somebody over here that has a solution to your issue, and you have your solution to your issue. So we're going to find some kind of way for you guys to connect, completely not related, but we're going to connect you guys somehow. But if you are awakened and you're working on your ascension and you're doing the things you're supposed to do, and you're following those clues of synchronicity, you're going to end up manifesting to yourself the experience that is a match to your frequency. And synchronicity is a way of you knowing, oh, I'm on the right track, and my soul groups are working with me. It's their
Right. You're on that right path.
you're on the right path. And synchronicity is kind of your further evidence that there is a God, and they're always watching. God is always there for you. It's inside you. It's all around you, and it's just waiting for you to listen. That's it.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter what religion you are, what race you are, what gender you are, whatever your incarnation. You came here for a certain reason and for a certain purpose. And if you start working on those abundance blocks, you can manifest the reality that's the best match to your frequency.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Interesting. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you can use this for many things, whether it's, you already mentioned jobs, but you could use this business related as well, like prosper more in your business, and then other things that you want to work on. So you can use that for other things as well.
Right. Yeah, you can work on this on pretty much any abundance block that you have. Okay. And again, what an abundance block is basically an unbalanced perspective. When you change your perspective on something, applying these Buddhist principles to your situation, you are changing the energy that you radiate at. And when you change that energy, then you will attract to yourself a reality that is in line with the next experience you're supposed to have. So if life is crappy to you and you think that is the way it always is, then you're going to still get that. Whatever you send out, you get back. Okay, whatever you create, you work on. I mean, it's very, very simple. It's basic physics. It's nothing. There's nothing, you know, magical about it. It's just physics. It's the physics of energy, and you and everyone else is energy. And if you know how to work with energy, this is kind of how it is. So it's basic physics. So start seeing it like that, and it will be a little bit more easier to transition into a life that is more pleasant as you start creating new experiences for yourself. I do have a last message for your audience.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of sessions, QHHT sessions, and the message that I get from the Oversoul from many of my clients are much the same. And so I put it into these basic phrases. And this is the message I want to leave your audience with, okay? So the last message is this, that the Oversoul wants everybody to know. It is that you've always been enough. You've always been enough. And use the gifts and resources all around you to create the life that you want to experience. A life full of joy and love. And the spirit world will nudge you through synchronicity. You can do it, okay? So that's the final message I want your audience to take away from this.
Perfect, perfect. And you mentioned in your book the Four Noble Truths and the other
Eightfold Paths, yes, in Buddhist Guide to Manifest Parallel Realities.
Is there anything else inside your book as well that any other tools or any other topics that's inside the book?
You know, there's little nuggets of other things, but of other areas as well. But for the most part, I basically explain what the Four Noble Truths is and what the Eightfold Path is and how to apply it to the situation that you're working on so that you can manifest a parallel reality that is in line with your new frequency.
Perfect.
So that's basically the book in a nutshell. And if you want to learn how to apply that to all of your abundance blocks and the issues that you're working on in this awakening and ascension process that you're working on, you know, grab the book and, you know, go through it. And there's so many more examples in there, and it goes so much more in depth. It's really a really easy, good read and a great way to reference. And again, the basic Buddhist principles are reused over and over again in Asia every day. So everybody's working on something at some level. So we're constantly a piece of art in motion.
Interesting. If someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to my website, Merkaba Chakras.
And I'll have that in the description, that link.
Yep. And they can send me an email there. They can also call me, but email is best because then I can, you know, answer whatever it is that you're looking for, help with, or schedule a QHHT session. And there's also a lot of information in blogs that I've written over the years that is in there about metaphysics that is supported by academic research.
Yes, a lot of information's on there. In the blog.
A lot of metaphysical research done by academia, and a lot of Buddhist studies as well done by academia in the blogs, in the website. But some of the links may not all work because I wrote those blogs in 2011, and I'm now putting it into a book and updating it and putting it out there. And if Amazon would just let me give away one of my books for free forever, I would do it for that book, just because that book I wrote in 2011, and I tested it on my Facebook page. And this is before they had author pages and business pages, so it was just personal pages. So I tested it on my personal page and allowed people to follow me or to friend me and to see it. And the blogs became so popular that they got shared all over the internet, all over Facebook, got rehashed in other people's content. And so it's still on my Facebook timeline from 2011.
Mm.
But because it's been shared all over the place, that's really wonderful that at least the information is being disseminated. But the links may not all work because they're so old, and a lot of the people from the original research have branched off to create their own channels, create their own foundations and other things. So that now there's even more information supporting these metaphysic topics that are very ancient and old in Buddhism. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
I'm sure it'll take you only a couple of days to update all that.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's I'm working on it now, and I'm going back through what I wrote, in 2011, and I'm going, yeah, that's pretty good.
It looks like you had about 60 or 40 posts on that blog, so you have information on there. So
yeah, and that's not everything. On my Facebook timeline, in 2011, there was even more. So I pretty much just picked the top ones that got the most engagement. Some of them had hundreds or thousands of shares and comments, and those are the ones I'm going to put in the book and update, revise the analysis, and just make it current, and then I'll put it out hopefully in a couple months, and then work on my next book, which I'm really excited about, which is about all the ancient pyramids all over the world, and the indigenous tribes that live in and around the pyramids all over the world, and the folklores around the original descendants of that culture. And there's a lot of similarities in these tribes. And I'm from one of these tribes. I'm Laotian from the Hmong tribe in northern Laos. And we have our own megaliths structures, and we have our own folklores. And also a lot of the folklores are documented in Buddhist folklores as well, because a lot of the metaphysic knowledge as well came from these folklores and from the people who passed on these traditions. So yeah, so myself being an indigenous woman, I have my own part in that book, and I'm just really looking forward to getting my Buddhist mandala book about sacred geometry in Buddhism, and then going into my book about pyramids and folklores.
Perfect. Interesting.
In cultures. So
whenever those books are ready, come on back.
So, yeah, I love talking about this stuff. This is my favorite stuff of all time.
Whenever those books are ready, let's set up another appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So, you kind of went into my next question, and I was going to ask you if there's anything else in the future for you. And you already mentioned the books. Are you working on anything else?
Well, that's enough for now. I think for the next year and a half. And again, if you yourself, as an audience member, are from an indigenous tribe that have folklore around ancient megalithic or pyramid sites in your area, please reach out and contact me, because I am doing the research right now, and I'll be doing it for the next maybe year and a half. So I'm slated to talk to different tribal leaders, elders, Native American tribe representatives, and just, listen to their folklores and document their folklores as accurately as possible. And then, kind of go from there. So please reach out to me if you are also one of these indigenous tribal peoples and you have your own folklores about the ancient ones in your tribe, because your knowledge is very valuable. And you may not know this, but there may be similarities to other tribes around the world, and I am finding that as well.
Interesting. Yes. Send her a message if you have anything that relates to it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll wrap it up. Well, thank you very much, Fawn. Yeah. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the information. Wonderful tips. Tons of information. I'm pretty sure a ton of people are going to find it's very useful and use this in their practice. And then, like I said, I'll have a link to her website and her book in the description below, so you can check it out and use some of this advice to your advantage and to make your life better, and to invest in your wealth, your health, and make yourself a better person. So whether it's relationship and so on. All right. Till next time, like I said, let us know next time you come out with something, new books, new programs, come on back. So,
All right.
all right, to everybody, take care. Have a good night. Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have more videos coming out. And if you're interested in doing an interview, please send me an email, jason@worktoinvest.com. You can go to the About Me page on the YouTube channel for Work to Invest, and it gives you some ideas of what I'm looking for, what kind of people I want to interview, life coaches, business coaches, entrepreneurs, creators, authors, musicians, and my email address will be right here. If you're not a robot, please click on this, and my email address is jason@worktoinvest.com. Also, please don't forget to check out our resource page at Work to Invest. Tons of information, investing, real estate, online business tools, affiliate marketing, Kindle publishing tools. If you're an author, this would be a great. There's even information about investing in your health, becoming a healthier person. So tons of information. Make sure you check out worktoinvest.com resource page. So thank you very much. Please subscribe.